Okay. Welcome everybody. I think we are live, right? Yes. Welcome everybody to the Node.js security meeting. The last one from of October. So as usual, before we start, does anybody have any announcement? I think it would be worth it to mention that we have released security releases for Node.js, for Node.js 18 and Node.js 20. Node.js 21 was released after the security patch, so it already contains the patches. And we are about to publish a blog post about the assessment of the recent OpenSSL vulnerabilities, which I can say that do not affect Node.js. And actually, we have one that affects Node.js, but the vulnerability is low. So, okay. So let me go to the agenda very quickly. So if you haven't added your name, please go to the minutes. I will paste in the chat. Include your name there. I will put mine. Okay, as usual, we go to the vulnerability review, and I think we have the OpenSSL one that I have just mentioned, and the zlib one. The zlib was assessed by Richard, and it says that basically it doesn't affect Node.js. So would be great to if you let me just check. Yes, this is that vulnerability was is available when if we expose the min zip, but we don't. So we should be fine. The next one is the OpenSSL scorecard monitor review. So Ulysses, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, there are some issues, still some issues with the delta comparison. So if you have a look on that, you might get weird results, but the total are fine. So I'm planning to do a patch for that this weekend. So hopefully we can have it finally, because I was on holiday, so I didn't have the time. There are no big changes, I will say, like what I have seen, like in Node.js, for example, you have a 0.2 points, which is not super relevant. So overall, that's one thing, and I still need to do a pull request to remove the repositories that are archived and things like that, so we can simplify these differences. I will do that also during the weekend, so hopefully next time will be much better and simpler to review.
One thing that I created 5 pull requests to improve the scorecard on different repositories, but just 2 of them were merged. The other 3 we are having some discussions, like maintenance burden. I think 2 people from the CICHM, I think it's the CICHM, raised a concern that, okay, if we switch from tag to the commit hash to the GitHub actions, it means that we are basically we are using the version 4.0.1, which means that if that package released the 4.0.2, we will receive a depend-about update, and that can cause some maintenance burden. I can see their point of view, so I don't know exactly in which state we should be with this scorecard or this monitoring. Looks like we should only focus on the or package or I don't know, repository that we expose to users instead of going to the whole organization.
Yeah, or pipelines that include, like sensitive information. So for example, if you have a pipeline that publish on NPM, for example, maybe on that specific pipeline is interested to pin the dependencies. But if you have other, just for check the pull request and you just, run the TypeScript or whatever, and it's not there is no risk, like potential risk at least. So maybe we can ignore some of those and make a while rule. So thinking also that in the next version of the scorecard, we will be able to customize the rules that we want to run. So maybe in that option, we can, just flag this rule for the pin dependencies in the repos that are like, like grade A level that we want to expect to be better. And others, we can just ignore that rule, for example. The same goes with fuzzing and things like that. So we can see which ones are relevant for which one and having our own, metrics. So that way it's easier for us to understand how they are progressing.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Michael, you are
So,
mute,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it would be good to have some like feedback back to the OSSF as well, because it would be nice if like it's acknowledged that some repos that doesn't make sense and other ones it does. It'd be good to have some like, hey, we understand that these kind of repos, these things make sense, and for these other repos it doesn't make sense. Sorry, I just missed for Sigim, the concern was pinning to the hash is that it will update too often, or
Yes. Pinning to a hash means that every patch they will receive a dependabot update. When we pin with tag, you don't need to pass the version of the patch or the minor, Semver minor. You can just do v4, which means that dependabot will only update it when it goes to v5.
okay, but right, so the assertion is they don't want updates for patch or minor.
They do want, but if you tag it as a v4, basically the GitHub action will always get the latest release every time it runs. Right. So the only thing is that if we pin by commit hash, it means that we will need to get dependabot updates for all patches release or Semver minor release. And it can happen very frequently. And the other concern they raised was, okay, the actions checkout is a GitHub official package. So it's unlikely to get hacked or hijacked. So it makes no sense to do that.
But it's basically don't want to get minors, don't want to get patch, right? Like it's
they do want, but they don't want to update it manually.
So I don't quite understand. Like
let me show you the pull request. I think it's better.
Yeah. Like I can totally understand the volume, like because we've turned it on for Node add-on API, and like I have to like land like 5 or 6 things every week, and I turned it on for our examples repository, and it's like, that's just impossible. So I could see you saying like for some of them I don't want it as often, but I'm just trying. It doesn't sound like that's necessarily the full problem.
Yeah, I mean, the only concern they raised was the volume.
Right. Okay.
Just that.
So basically, like if the tool could, like the problem is that the pinning by hash, the only option is to say, give me every update for every version. You can't say just update when I'm going to version 4 to 5, right? So that's almost like a tool.
No, you can. This is managed by dependabot. You can just say, okay, I want to receive updates only for Semver major or Semver minors. But that's not how they want, because when you, as I said, when you pin by tag, commit tag, so you GitHub actions and then v4. Whenever you run that action, it will get the latest release. So v401. Yes, v401. And then tomorrow it released a new patch, v402. If I run the same GitHub workflow again, it will get the v402 because if you hide the, However, if you pin by commit hash, you need to receive dependabot updates for every patch if you want to be up to date. If you want to have only Semver minor, that's fine. You can configure that. But looks like they want to get all the recent updates without getting a lot of pull requests, a lot of maintenance burden.
But you're saying that you have to get all the updates in between Like I guess I'm failing to understand the difference. Like, is it that like the, say there's 401, 4.0.1, 4.0.2, 4.0.3. If you pin by hash, you're going to get all three of those, right?
Yes, you get
If you say
two pull requests.
Right. If you say I want the December patches, what do I get somehow only get one for some reason, or?
No, you still get two pull requests.
Right.
They can close the previous one if you don't merge.
Right.
But it is still a maintain. It's still a notification in your inbox.
Sure. So I'm still like, what's the difference between those two?
The thing is, you don't receive Dependabot pull requests when you tag by commit tag by tag v4. GitHub Actions v4, you don't receive pull requests from Dependabot updates unless it's a silver major. But it doesn't mean that you are out of date with that package. Whenever you run the GitHub action, it will get the latest release of that v4 release line. But you don't need...
Okay. Now I think maybe now, like, basically you're not setting it to any version. Okay, that I can see. So it's not really that it's a GitHub. It's not a hash. It's just that you don't want to set it to anything. You just want to say latest.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
But if you use the commit hash, you cannot use latest.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. That's understood. Like, okay, you're basically saying, I want just give me whatever the latest release was. Okay. So, okay, that I understand. And then the flip side is that, it's mutable because you're just taking whatever's the latest. So if somebody hacks it and publishes something, you're going to get it. But then it's like, but for some cases, does that really matter? Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, it looks like would only make sense to do that on packages that we expose to the community, like node.js, stitchim, Unity. But let's say for a repositories, working group repository or internal tools, I don't think it makes sense. And also considering that we are relying on most of the actions we rely is official from GitHub. It's unlikely to get hijacked for some reason.
So yeah, I mean, I think that would be, it would be like, yeah, okay. So thanks. Now I understand, and I think it would be good for that feedback to go back to the OSSF and to have ideally it would be nice for them to say, yeah, that, this is our recommendations. You turn it on for these kind of repos, but not these kind of repos. And in absence of that, we can probably agree in the project itself what makes sense, because
yes,
got a balance between the overhead of doing things versus the actual risk, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that makes sense.
And share experience, hopefully we can share our experience of and that's why it would be good to have the OSSF people involved. If they're like, yeah, that makes sense, then we can and this is based on our experience in a larger project, right? Sort of part of the value that hopefully we can give back by learning the hard way.
Yeah, we can try to integrate that. Yeah, I can try to open that bridge for us if you want. I can try to bring Lauren back to the meeting so we can provide some feedback, or maybe we can write a document with some examples. Or because in one of the things with the OpenSSF is like I donated both projects, like the visualizer and the other one. Yeah. So after a long time, we have the final step, which is like the final legal approval, whatever. So it's going to happen, I think, hopefully this week. So probably we'll have the onboard as an official maintainer there. So I will get more in touch with the team, so I can ask them like, look, we have a lot of feedback to provide, how we do it better. And
it's like it might be something like our experience is leading towards like, do this pinning in projects where you publish an NPM artifact or some other artifact, for ones which are like working groups, or, you know, we could have a list for if it's a working group, it's this kind of thing, then we don't think it makes sense because we found that like the overhead of updating it doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah. Perfect.
Right. Okay. Good discussion. Right. So let's go to the regular agenda. The first item is the S-bombs on Node.js. Marco?
Yeah. So I collaborated with the guys from Cyclone.dx. I had a chat with them on how to start the whole process. And so first of all, I want to say that since it's going to be the standard for OWASP, Cyclone.dx is the format that we are going to use. And one key information that I got is that there is not one magic tool that does everything, but we can start with Cyclone.dx Gen, which is also the one that I tested. And the thing is that we will have to work to generate from the simplest dependencies that we have, like the npm ones, and then to move to the C++ ones, and then to open SSL and V8. Because to generate the SBOM for V8 and OpenSSL, it's very hardware and time expensive, incredibly. So it's like a multi-step process. And one thing that is worth noting that probably I was not fully aware about, but they really insisted on it, is that having SBOM and having a valuable SBOM are two very different things. So it requires a lot of manual tinkering and adjusting. So even if we create it, it's gonna take some time to be able to say, hey, we have a proper SBOM on Node.js. So I guess it's going to be something that goes for a big part of 2024. And so as long as I have access to the machines, I can start writing some pipeline even right now. So yeah, just like, yeah.
Like, does that breaking it down help with that problem, needing like a really big machine, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because go ahead.
The thing is that V8 itself, it requires, I've been told by other people that done it, it requires about 17 hours of intensive computation. And also OpenSSL, they say like less than 50 gigabytes of RAM, it's not gonna do it. Because these two projects are very large and it does static analysis. So it loads all the kind of nodes of the abstract syntax tree that it creates and does analysis. So it's very heavy. But if we split it in different parts, we can then create an SBOM. And this is a practice that is actually being done on big projects. An SBOM for every dependencies, and then merge it into one for the whole Node.js project. So this is the idea.
Are they platform specific at all?
I'm not sure about this, but I asked Richard, and he told me that the dependencies are the same on every platform. So that shouldn't be like, we have different tools, but at least we have the same dependencies. So that should be easier.
Yeah, that's a bit, I don't know if I understand that part, because we have different configuration for different platforms. We have the GIP that, for instance, we include some .cc files for specific architectures, and we remove some of them for others.
Yeah, so this probably we will have to see with how it goes, because I'm not aware of that at the moment.
It'll really come down to what's in the SBOM, I think, in the end, right? Like, so maybe yeah, like generating a few, and then we can better understand like if that actually matters. Because if it,
exactly.
If it just ends up saying, yes, you have V8 version 5.7.2, and it uses these tools that have blah, 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 and blah, 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 maybe it's not an issue. Maybe we end up with more like a superset versus what's specific for a platform, but that would probably still be a pretty good start. So anyway, sounds like you're on track. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I have just a few questions because I'm not familiar with SBOM at all. So basically they have their kind of static analyzer that whenever you try to build Node.js, it will collect all the information and create like a receipt.
Not like if you add that part into the build system, yes. Right now, it's going to statically analyze the dependency folder and generate an SBOM for what we have in the depth folder. The thing is that what people really care about is when you create the binary, what's inside that binary. So that's the best moment to generate the SBOM. So with only the things that are going to be inside that binary, but it takes quite some time to tinker everything. It can also be done manually. Like SBOM can be also generated from a CSV file, like a record of dependencies with version. That's also a possible thing that can be done. So there are different ways and configuration to work with SBOM. And so I think it's going to take some time to find the best for our project.
You said that we need a big machine because usually to generate all the information we need takes quite amount of time, right?
Yes.
But for every release, we might change the dependence of Node.js. We can update that. So it means that we need that machine for every release. And we need like an additional tab for every to the release process.
Yes. At
That's
the
why
end goal, that's gonna be probably that.
I'm thinking that's why I was thinking like and got to learn more, but like we may want to say, well, the best we can do is as we update a dependency, that's when we generate an updated SBOM, right? Like, so we only update V8 at some less frequent interval, right? And so when we update that, we would have the tool generate the SBOM. So hopefully like, when you got to the release process, you would only be generating something for Node and we would already have the sort of dependency ones generated and checked in.
But
yes,
for instance,
that's also possible.
If I update zlib, I mean, we have the automation of dependence. So
yeah.
every week we get an update. We can like break it down. Like for instance, I have updated zlib and I want to update the SBOM for only to the zlib receipt, or I don't know how it works, or I need to generate the SBOM from scratch.
No, so we are going to break down the SBOM generation for every dependency or for at least a family of dependencies so that the process is not as intensive as generating everything all together. So for example, we can generate an SBOM for all the NPM dependencies that we have, Acorn, and like there are a few ones, and that's fast. Like that's not very problematic. It takes nothing. But to generate SBOM from C++ dependencies, that's a bit more complex. Also, it's worth noting that we do some customization on the dependencies sometimes. So that's also is an information that we need to add manually to SBOM. And there are also like other kind of tinkering that I'm learning right now on how to do it. But the idea is to split it into simple steps. So first we generate an SBOM for NPM dependencies, then we add this, then we add that. And then we can decide how to update the SBOM, for example, on a release update, on a dependency update, on a release, on whatever.
All right.
So it's just a iterative process. And yeah.
Right. So
I mean,
go ahead.
In the longest term, hopefully like the dependencies might start providing them themselves, right?
Exactly.
So this is
Exactly.
kind of like a short term for the dependencies. We can, it sounds like there's tools to kind of try and extract that. But like say, for example, for V8, hopefully somebody convinces them at some point to provide an SBOM as part of their repo, in which case when we cloned it, we would just get it. So
Yes,
I think
I
that
have
fits
been
in with that model
advised
too.
exactly this.
Yeah.
One of the maintainers of CycloneDX told me exactly this. For big dependencies, you need to ask the maintainers to provide SBOM. Because it's also a security feature to say that when we have a dependency in Node, it's like certified with an SBOM. So it's a good thing to have. It's a good thing for maintainers to say that they have an SBOM, and we can just use theirs and include into ours.
But that's a longer term. Like, so initially, like you're working on, we'll have to generate them, but it'll be good to have them generated like bits like you're talking about, because then when a dependency does provide it, we can just hopefully just switch off and say, okay, stop generating that one because we're just getting it for free. And
Yeah,
Yes.
but yeah, okay.
that makes sense. So we have discussed about your pull request yesterday in the TSC poll, the one, and Richard told us that the package lock looks a bit odd, like it doesn't seem to be valid in the way that it was generated. I couldn't understand entirely because I was doing something else, but I think Michael suggested him to elaborate on that in the
Yeah,
pull
I
request.
hope
don't know if you did that.
he can paste in. So like his concern wasn't that we include data, but it was just that the specific package lock that was in the PR didn't look like what he expected, and I don't know why. But
Yeah, and this is true because the way that we install the dependency is we do on an empty folder npm init. So we create an empty package JSON. We do npm install acorn, so that we install acorn in that empty project, and then we go into the node modules folder, extract the acorn folder from node modules, and put it inside deps. So that's how it has been generated. So the package lock is from the actual installation of acorn inside an empty project. So that's why it looks odd, but it keeps the the integrity check of the acorn that has been downloaded and the npm value. It's not it's not what you expect because it's in the same folder with acorn and its package JSON, but it's not the package lock of that project. It's from the one who generated it.
right, I wonder if there's a way. So like if we just had the what's in Node, how would we regenerate? I guess like if we just had what's in Node, we wouldn't actually use what's in Node to regenerate it. We would do an npm install. We would basically say, take this package lock. I guess like what I'm wondering is like maybe it makes sense to change the structure of how it goes in to make it clear like that's like the a generation day steps.
I wonder if there isn't another way rather than installing it, extract it from node modules and use it. It would make sense to download from the release package or do something else, because like this is a bit like the installation process itself, it's weird.
Yeah, I think that I don't know if there are secret flaws in that, but if you can use the GitHub API to download the package and just extract that, possibly the integrity will match, and it will be much more simpler because we don't need to have a remote step on the action. But possibly, I mean, ping the npm team, maybe someone will appear. I doubt, but yeah. Okay, so folks,
just to clarify, so other than the format of the package JSON, the package lock, which is not it looks a bit weird, but the idea of saving the metadata that we use to install dependencies like that has been sort of approved by TSC.
I wouldn't say approved. You know, there was about 11
needs more
people
discussion.
there. We discussed it. Like, I kind of gave the pitch as to why I thought it was important. Nobody there said, hey, this is a problem, right? Like, so there weren't any concerns. So that's not an approval, but like nobody there said, hey, no, we shouldn't be doing this. But you know, the only thing that was brought up was, you know, Richard's point of like, this doesn't look like what I would expect. So I can kind of understand that. But yeah, I think we should still push forward with trying to get the metadata in there. And
yeah, I suggest you to write to elaborate on that on the pull request description, so we can ping TSC and Richard for secondary review, and then I think we can move forward.
I think the other point too was like, if there is a better way to get it, like if we could actually be pulling a particular version or something as opposed to doing the npm install.
Exactly.
Like, so if it was like curl this specific URL and do an unzip and copy over, maybe that's better than like an npm install, because it's more, you know, it's repeatable, doesn't require npm as another tool that can do different things. And
exactly. Yeah, I do agree. I will look into that. So
okay.
we could probably solve it from the root.
And if we still need an npm install, like maybe it's that what we should have is like to refactor the directory for, so you said it was Acorn, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Acorn Walk, I think, or Acorn. The one is the sub dependency of the other ones.
Because like we have a package JSON in Acorn, Walk, we also have a package JSON. So, but basically having a package lock in that same directory doesn't make sense.
No, because it's not the package JSON, the package lock of the internal package JSON. Yeah, that's why it's confusing.
I see. Okay. And a package lock, like, so there's no way to generate a package lock that matches that package.json?
I don't know if that's possible without installing dependencies. And I will look into that. Probably,
okay. Yeah. Like the more sort of understandable the install process / and how the metadata, you know, goes with that, the better. And if we really can't make something like that, then I don't know, like maybe a different subdirectory or something, which is like the rebuild or source or something like that can make sense.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's move forward.
Yeah.
So the next one is license checker process script. I think. Oh, Thomas, do you want to share something?
No. Didn't.
Okay. Right. I think the Andrea is not here. So we can just skip that for now. But usually, I don't know if we have discussed about that, but I think the idea is to have a license checker whenever we add some dependencies to Node.js to make sure that concerns like the 49.625 won't happen again, right, Ulysses?
Yeah, that's correct. I think the idea was to automate that process. There were some concerns because some dependencies are, I mean, like for example, npm is kind of easy to track because it's using packages and so on. So we can build an easy script, but I think for other dependencies might be a little bit tricky because also the idea is you need to check also the sub dependencies and so on. So that might be a little bit tricky.
I remember that we have a licensor builder or something, licensed builder or something. Do you know, Michael?
Sorry, can you say that again?
We do have on a workflow to generate license based on our dependence, right? Because I remember, for instance, when we have added Ada, it included the Ada license automatically.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not, I for some reason thought we were like semi-manually generating our licenses because like we missed
Okay.
an NPM license update at one point when like a new
Yeah.
license was added.
Yes.
Yeah.
I almost kind of think like when we add a new dependency, you know, I've seen things people say like, oh, and you've got to
Okay.
add it to the license file too.
We have this workflow called license builder. It runs every Monday, and we use an action to generate or to generate a pull request whenever a license is changed for some reason. But I think we are basically reacting to the problem instead of being more proactive, right? In the pull request, right?
That may
Yep.
check our existing licenses that we know about. Or something.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So it's basically we've configured, here's the list of places to find licenses if they change. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So we are being a bit more reactive, but I think to mitigate potential problems, we should act on the pull request and prevent it to get merged.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
did something like that for NPM for the new one. That is the 10.2.1. So I was running this script again manually, but yeah, we can do some automation, at least for NPM. And we can try to
Okay.
see if we can do for others. Yeah.
Okay. The next one is the audit build process for dependencies. And I am wondering if that 100% related to SBOM or it's a different initiative.
No, it's a different initiative, and it's more related about the thing where we were talking about the package lock. So, like, it's probably easier with SBOM to have source code inside dependencies rather than like a lot of binaries and processed dependencies. So in some cases, if we can build dependencies ourselves, or at least have a clear build workflow, that would be also beneficial to SBOM, but that's like completely separated.
Yeah, like you may want to build the SBOM as you go through the steps to create what gets copied into the depths.
Okay, so they go together, but in parallel.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're both supporting having good supply chain security, but kind of in different ways.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense for me. Okay. Do you have updates on that or just the lock? Want to discuss?
No, no updates on that, but like if we unlock this package lock thing and we fix it, I will keep going for other NPM dependencies and then look at C++ dependencies and do the iterative process for dependencies, because it's easier to start easy and then go to the harder one.
Yeah, it's easy for us to review as well. Okay, thank you. Next one, initiatives for CII best practice. I think the remaining step is the gold level, right?
Yep, I couldn't make any progress on the gold level in terms of making the context easier for the discussion. So I will work on that. Yeah.
Okay, don't worry. If you want to work in a call with that, we can. I think in the next meeting we can just move it to the first item in the agenda, so we go all together and resolve most of the issues.
Yeah, also we can try to bring Jordan. Maybe he can help us also to discuss and provide them some feedback. So yeah, let me see if I can bring Jordan to the discussion. And I think the issue with the silver level in terms of see that reflected on the website is remaining. So yeah, Rod is working on that as far as I know. So
yeah. Basically,
is that
I think
something that maybe we can pull
ahead.
Jordan in too? Because I think he's working with the OSS.
Yes.
Worth check if Jordan is capable of helping us there. Yeah. Mhm.
Might just be worth asking him and say like, hey, this is taking forever. Can you talk to the, like, somehow they should just be able to say, we're going to change the user ID or whatever, right?
Fantastic.
Okay. So possibly the next meeting, I'll be flying back to Brazil after NodeConf. But the next one would be great if we can include Jordan in the call, so we can go like kind of deep dive and maybe get it done in a single meeting.
Mhm.
The next one is the permission model roadmap. I know that Carlos is working on the support path resolve. Do you have any updates or anything that you want to share?
No, currently I put a pull request to your branch. I think I'm missing a review from you from the latest changes, and then I will need support on how to test that on Windows. Well, we can let the CI test that, but if not, I will need some support there, or maybe I can power up my Windows laptop and then try to do things there. But it will probably be slower because I have never used it and it's quite old.
Yeah, I have an Azure machine provided by Nearform that I can give you access. So I think it's already configured. You just need to pull your branch and compile it. It will take some time because it's
Anyway,
Windows.
I think when I submitted the pull request, the latest changes, they run in your CI and the Windows tests were passing. So I think they are good to go. So I will be just missing the review and yeah.
Okay.
And apart from that, we have the other thing, the other point of the roadmap, which is on pause because of the replicating the diagnostics channels for C++.
So yeah, that makes sense. The only thing for the diagnostic channel for C++ is that that will be quite difficult to do, and I wonder the benefit from that. I think we need to discuss firstly about let me check one thing.
Yeah, I think that from what Stephen said, it shouldn't be so difficult because we shouldn't need to replicate like the whole diagnostics channels, but only just take the object. But I have some missing link there. I've been looking at the code for some time now, and I'm just missing how can I take the diagnostics channel wrapper in the C++ side. So if anyone has any ideas, that would be appreciated.
Let me add it to my backlog. I can definitely help you with that. Diagnostics channel permission model. Just added it to my agenda, and yes, that should be good. I think I will ping you in the next week so we can schedule a call and do it together, I guess.
Cool. If you can provide a date in advance, maybe I can ask for an open source day, and then I can have the full day for that.
Okay, sure.
Cool.
Let me just include that here. I need to review. So yeah, good stuff. Okay, the next one is the automation of secret release process. Well, we for Node.js collaborators, we have an open role with limited funding to work on automation of security release process. So basically, we might get someone to do it soon. The deadline is November 10. And after that, the TSC will discuss and decide how we will proceed with that. But for now, it's stale. So I will remove the agenda for now because we won't have anything else to discuss in the next meeting. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Next one, assessment against best practice. I think we have already discussed that. I think we are about of time to just remove and close this issue as completed. I think the remaining step is just, okay, let's define which repositories would make sense to monitor frequently every week, every meeting. And then we close this issue because I think we did a very good progress. We have data mined and we are actively monitoring. I think that's the objective of this this best practice. I think they'll actually, this one, the remaining step also is the CIA best practice, right? Because I think it encapsulates the OpenSSF scorecard plus the CII.
Yep. Yep.
Yes,
Yeah, it's both things. It's both things. Yeah. Yeah, and we might have some new requirements if we don't fulfill the goal level. So maybe we have some room for improvement there. So yeah.
So I think we can just remove it from the agenda because we have things on actively.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that's the end of our agenda. We have 10 minutes left. Does anyone have
I
anything
just posted one PR into the chat just to give everybody a heads up. It's related to the WASI implementation, and it's better documenting the sort of security position vis-a-vis like the node threat model and so forth. So I just thought it was good for this group to take a look and be aware of that. So I'll just mention that.
Okay.
I don't think we necessarily need to discuss here, but if you have questions, you can let me know. And
yeah, should it be mentioned in the secure.md?
Do we mention similar things like, for the permission model, we documented some limitations and for VM sandbox we do. So if so, yes.
I think we have some examples of vulnerabilities and non-vulnerabilities. I think just to clarify, let me check here. What we Node.js does not trust and what we trust. Maybe would be great to just mention the WASI thing in the what Node.js trusts.
I think
that's a concern.
It's like we continue to trust code that you run, right? Versus like the security model is like, hey, any code you ask us to run, we trust, and that's still the case. Whereas some WASI runtimes, you have you can run untrusted code.
I was just thinking about the message in the request that the current Node.js threat model does not provide secure sandboxing as is present in some WASI runtimes.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be great to be mentioned there, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, no, sure, like that. So yeah, make that comment in the PR as like, hey, maybe we should mention here too, and we can.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I have just one suggestion, maybe for in the future. I would like to propose to add a sort of presence reacting to the issue of the security meeting, like for release meeting with an emoji, so that we know when people who's going to join, who's not going to join, because it happened last time that it was just me and Michael. So if we know with advance, we can just, if it's just 2 of us, we can skip it, so we can just change the template of that we use, so that it says if you are present, react with this emoji. If not, react with that.
I think that sometimes is, for instance, me, I receive the notification when it gets created, and usually a week in advance. And I don't know in Monday if I'll be able to do it on Thursday. Maybe if we have a bot or something that will comment in that issue a day before of the meeting, so we can react, would be more assertive. Not sure if it's worth to spend time on that. But yeah, I can do that.
If it doesn't take too
muted,
much
Michael.
effort.
It doesn't
ahead,
hurt.
Michael.
It doesn't hurt. Like I often don't remember to do the thumbs up or thumbs down, but it certainly doesn't hurt to have like, hey, these 3 people said yes. So like at the beginning, maybe we'll wait a little longer to see if they show up, or ping them through Slack because they said yes, right? It's like,
yeah.
But I wouldn't cancel just because nobody said yes. That would be because those I think are there's the experience that on the other ones are like, we don't get like 90% of the people filling it out. It's a smaller subset. I'm just looking.
Yeah, I mean, if you know that you won't be able to go, I think reacting with thumbs down would be way better than thumbs up, because we know that, for instance, Ulysse that normally joins the meeting we won't need to wait for him.
Yeah, I think it's good for thumbs down. I know that you're not gonna attend, so I will not ping you or try to reach you, and that's good. And also there is still the issue on for allowing me to have access to the YouTube for.
Sorry, I probably just forgot that. So yeah, okay.
Yeah, I just need some onboarding if you all agree with it.
So there's an issue in the admin repo, right? That I probably, So yeah, and basically we're long past, like nobody's objected. So I should just, I'll take the next steps of I can add you to the different places and get that going. Thanks for the reminder.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So that's the end of our agenda. Thank you folks for joining. I don't know if we'll be able to make it in the next meeting. If not, I think someone else will join and you can continue discussing. Thank you. See you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.